The Western Cape government closed off the week by taking aim at the ongoing threat of what has become known as the construction mafia. Its hallmark is the extortion of construction companies whose work is stymied by criminal syndicates holding projects for ransom. Many have jumped ship due to threats and violence. The city of Cape Town says it will cost tens of millions of rand to hire private security to protect sites. Senior reporter Ayesha Ismail is following that story and joins me now from our Cape Town offices. Ayesha, can you tell us first off, how serious is this so-called construction mafia in the Western Cape and how do they operate? Are they targeting both private construction companies and construction companies contracted by the city of Cape Town to build infrastructure?
Well, the situation is certainly very bad, so much so that the Western Cape Government Standing Committee on Human Settlements called a meeting today with all stakeholders, and these include the South African Police Services, the Department of Human Settlements, as well as the City of Cape Town, to discuss this ongoing, what has become a scourge, where you find, and as you say, it's been called the construction mafia, where construction companies are extorted for money, and these are companies who mostly get contracts either from the City of Cape Town or from the Western Cape Provincial Government, and you actually get these gangsters going and demanding a protection fee in order to supposedly protect the construction site and to protect the workers while they're busy either building infrastructure or building houses. Now, these houses are in areas where people have been waiting on this housing waiting list, some of them for decades. So people need houses. But because of this ongoing racket that's going on, construction companies most of them have packed up and left site, because we had a situation where on more than one occasion the workers on site were shot at and injured, and they have been threatened. But this is what the Mayor of Cape Town had to say.
All of those construction sites are being undermined and delayed by extortionists. We have a huge problem in the housing space with contractors walking off site, probably understandably given the risk to their staff, who they are primarily responsible for.
Ayesha, we know about ongoing budgetary constraints. We know about the shortage of police resources. So what solutions have been tabled today, if any?
So what the Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis was saying, that it's going to be costing tens of millions of rands to protect these sites, and he is suggesting that perhaps they should insource the security and safety and security services from the City of Cape Town, because they also have the resources. But then also there's the department, or the MACO member for Human Settlements, who was talking about increasing their budget and making some money available in order to protect the sites, and especially the sites where they have been hired contractors to build houses. This is what a MACO member for Human Settlements, Malusi Boy, had to say to this committee today.
Hoping that we will not have any stoppages, but as the executive mayor has indicated, there are some of these challenges, and we have to provide some extra security, because it's the vulnerable and the poorest of the poor that are not in a position now to access those housing opportunities. So we want, as council yesterday, there's been an approval of about 15 million rands through our adjustment budget yesterday to enable us to find a way of protecting these sites.
Ayesha, construction sites are often quite vulnerable targets. In the initial stages, there are no services. There's not necessarily adequate lighting during the evenings. And I can only imagine that should private security be appointed to guard these sites, there will be pushback from these syndicates, or the so-called construction mafia. Are there worries at this stage about whether we can expect exchanges of gunfire at construction sites? Surely, You know, are we thinking too inside the box here?
Well, hiring private security is going to be a very costly exercise, as we heard the mayor saying, that it's going to be costing tens of millions of rands. And that's money that could be going to building more houses for the poorest of the poor. And so also, as you're talking about poor lighting, load shedding is also not even helping, because in many of these areas, these gangsters operate in darkness. However, they've become so brazen that they've actually walked onto these construction sites in broad daylight and threatened people, and as I said, even shot people. But what's also very sad is the fact that those who've fallen victim to this construction mafia, many of these construction companies are too afraid to even go and report these cases to the police, because they've been warned and they've been threatened not to go to the police.